And also right now, Kentucky is undergoing a Senate campaign. Jim Bunning is stepping down, and that leaves the whole field open for the Republicans and for the Democrats. Right now for the Republican side, and this election is going to be held in November, and the primaries are in May. So for the Republicans, you got CM Trey Grayson, who is the Secretary of State, and he's an attorney, or secretary. He's an attorney and Secretary of State. You got Bill Johnson, a business executive, an electrical engineer, and a Navy veteran. And you got Brian Oerther, who is a teacher and an anti-tax activist. And you got Rand Paul, a physician, and he's the son of the Texas Congressman Ron Paul. And you've got Roger Thoney, who's a professional engineer. So with those choices, it's guaranteed that the Republican nomination is going to be a middle-aged white male. So here's a clip of Trey Grayson.
Hi, I'm Secretary of State Trey Grayson, and I oversee the election process in Kentucky. Many of you may have heard about an initiative by YouTube and PBS that encourages you to video your vote. This initiative encourages voters, and particularly new voters, to record their voting experiences at the polls. If you plan to do this on November 4th, there are some things you need to know. First, and most importantly, you cannot use a camera or other recording equipment at the polls in Kentucky. It's illegal. But beyond that, voting is a private matter, and many people don't want to be photographed while voting. In fact, many people find it intimidating. So we ask that you respect other people's privacy as you vote. On the YouTube website are the words, "Share your election experience with the world." Let me be the first to encourage you to do so. However, you should wait until you leave the voting area. Feel free to express your opinions on video and upload them to the YouTube site, but do so after you've left the precinct. I also want to let you know about a website that has information about voting in Kentucky. Vote.ky.gov has specific information for college students, first-time voters, or for experienced voters. There you can find the Voter Information Center, where you can confirm your voter registration, find your precinct location, or get driving directions to your polling location. Because YouTube is a powerful social tool, I hope that you will tell others about this video. I'm all for expressing your opinion. That's what the voting process is all about. But I ask that you follow the law and respect the privacy of others. If you have any questions, please visit vote.ky.gov. Call the State Board of Elections at 502-573-7100 or email me at sos.secretary@ky.gov. This election is going to be historic, and I hope that you will take the opportunity to make your voice heard. Thanks for your time, and don't forget to vote on November 4th.
I've heard past Secretary of State's actually committed voter fraud, so that is a concern to be watched out for. If you're in a position to actually do something to help yourself, would you take it? And if you couldn't get caught, I don't know. Trey Grayson is anti-Nancy Pelosi, and he's called her watered-down health care bill. He thinks it's going to be a permanent middle-class entitlement. Here's a clip of Trey Grayson being surrounded by his goons.
Are you guys trying to keep him from being photographed?
No colleges involved in this.
Big Republicans out, straight out the blue, right?
Trey Grayson is the current Secretary of State. He's the one that's in charge of the elections. So I would think that would give him an advantage, but hopefully he just plays by he's a fair person. CM Trey Grayson has been endorsed by Karl, Rove, and Mitch McConnell. Bill Johnson is a business executive, electrical engineer, and a Navy veteran. Alan Keyes endorsed Bill Johnson. Here's a clip of those two right now.
We're talking to Bill Johnson, candidate for U.S. Senate, running for Jim Bunning's seat. Dr. Alan Keyes, who is our guest. Now, you're here helping Bill with his campaign. How'd you two get together?
Well, I heard about Bill from mutual friends and people who we've really been looking around the country to find people based, regardless of party, and to stand with folks who are really taking positions that reflect the kind of consistent conservatism that I'm talking about. And I think Bill, with his stands on issues like pro-life, with his strong stand in terms of national security issues and standing in defense of this country, with a stand that has been consistent in terms of fiscal responsibility and really respecting the fact that we have to maintain our free market approaches, not rush pell-mell into government control of things, because that has proven to be more costly and less effective in terms of quality. All across the board, that is the kind of conservatism Reagan was identified with, that I believe in, and that I think a lot of Americans really feel in their hearts makes sense. It's just common sense.
Bill, what's it mean to have somebody like Dr. Keyes come in to help you campaign?
Well, it's fabulous to have other true conservatives, Reagan-era conservatives, come in and help with the campaign. It means a lot, because it validates that conservatism is the right direction, and it means a lot to have somebody like Dr. Keyes support my.
Now, politics aside, your reaction on Barack Obama.
That when I ran in Illinois, I called him a hardline Marxist-Leninist. And I spoke frequently about how
what I love about Alan Keyes, you know where you stand with him.
I spoke frequently about how he was determined to move the country to socialism.
Right.
And I cited his background, and I cited the people he studied with, the ideas he promoted, the record he had in Illinois. And a lot of people, including Republicans and people who were, in the hierarchy, said, well, that's like, don't you think you ought to moderate that? And so I said, no, it's the truth. And so forth. Well, I'm finding it interesting that, of course, now that people are getting an experience of what's going on, what are all the headlines about? They're all about the fact that we are being pushed towards socialism, moving towards socialism, the issues involved in healthcare and so forth, all about government, takeover. They call it sometimes by different names, but more and more people are realizing that there's a determined agenda, at the very least to push us toward what they call European socialism, and at most to move us beyond that. To a point of view of even greater government control. So I think he's kind of confirmed the sense that I had of him and tried to tell people about. And the rhetoric sounds all moderate and everything, but he's really an extremist who wants to take the country in a certain direction he thinks is right.
Well, we appreciate you being here today. You are certainly one of the more colorful figures from politics the last few years, and I say that in a good way. So it's nice to get to talk to you and meet the gentleman behind that. KentuckyBill.com, correct?
KentuckyBill.com, spelled out.
All right. Bill Johnson, who's running for Senate on the Republican side, the Jim Bunning seat.
Bill Johnson is a 10-year military veteran. He's a 13-year businessman, and he's a concerned citizen who's never run for office before. Bill Johnson is tired of the nonsense that's coming out of Washington, and he believes it's time for the citizens to retake our nation. He's against a woman's right to choose to an abortion. I'm against abortions after 6 weeks, but before then, especially in rape and incest cases, I think abortion is okay. He's also a homophobe. He's anti-gay people. He's anti-socialism. He wants to keep Guantanamo Bay, and he wants to escalate the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. He believes our country is under attack by terrorists and domestic forces who are threatening our very way of life. He believes in limited government, low taxes, strong military, gun ownership, winning the war against terror, medical tort reform, and no to universal health care. And you got Rand Paul, who by far is the most exciting person running in Kentucky.